Dogdays Chit Chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sacktown, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
Mitchell Robinson getting paid 4 years, $150 million. Peter, yes, it's in the rotation, man. Can you tell me how many days it's been since it's been in the rotation? The Traeger shirt is back, Peter. You're going to have to deal with it for the next 2 hours. What's up, everybody? Court in session.
Order in the court.
Ryan in Sacktown with you. Dog days of summer. We've still got plenty to talk about with the Kings. And let's have a responsible conversation. I said earlier in the summer I was not going to bring this guy back up on the show, but I want to have a conversation about DeMarcus Cousins. Mike Bibby had him on a podcast, and Mike is the one that brought it up. He asked, do you think your jersey should be hanging in the rafters at the G1C? We'll listen to DeMarcus's response, but I want to get to what you all think. I put an X poll out earlier today. At last check, that X poll, let's see where we're at right now. It was not looking good for Boogie. Not good at all. We are at, here we go. Drum roll, please. 77% say no. 20% say yes. 3% say retire 15 for Mason Jones. So that's where our poll is at right now. There's been a number of voters, more votes than we usually get on those. So we will keep tracking that as the day goes along. As you know, if you've been here the last couple days, we are on a march to get to another like. One more like each day. Not too much to ask, and y'all have responded. So thank you very much. As Grant has alluded to, we have big plans for the channel. So make sure that you stay tuned to what is next. If you're not subscribed, would love to have you subscribe to the channel. You can watch on X. We've got viewers on X, YouTube, streaming live. So get involved in the chat. Also, you can call the show. The links are in the chat. If you want to pick up the phone, anybody got the cojones to pick up the phone like Mac does? Shoot your shot. Call the show. Would love to hear from you. We can talk about whatever you want. If you're looking for baseball trade deadline coverage, probably not going to be this show today. But if you want to talk about it, maybe we will get to it. Jonathan Kuminga reportedly turning down a 2-year, $45 million deal with the Warriors. I think the Kings were out at 20. The hang-up reportedly is the second year that it's a team option, and they want him to waive. Did anybody know Jonathan Kuminga had a no-trade clause? I mean...
Ooh, that's a great question.
Would you have known Jonathan Kuminga has a no-trade clause? Isn't that interesting? LeBron, Jonathan Kuminga. Who else? I don't think there's that many more. That's insane. So we'll continue monitoring it. It is the dog days of August. So you never know if something's going to get done or not. Most are vacationing right now. I am happy to announce football is kind of back tonight. At least it's football. happy to have it. You're not going to see very many starters. This is an early game for being in camp, but the Lions and the Chargers are playing in Canton, Ohio. A game that's certainly filled with a lot of guys looking at some of these reps for rookies might be the only reps they get while wearing an NFL uniform. So guys are going to do their best if they get in there. A lot of interviews during the broadcast, but you know what? It's football. We are almost there. I say that every show. We are almost there to preseason football, and then you're off to the races. So are you going to be watching that one? What are you watching for? Let me know. Something interesting I didn't get to yesterday. One thing I'm looking at the NFL this year, this odd couple pairing of Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. Like, if you asked me who are the two personalities in the NFL that just do it their own way and for the most part have been successful, Aaron and Mike are near the top of the list. How's this going to work out? Mike Tomlin was asked a couple of days ago on the Pat McAfee show about it. And Steelers fans, man, you really showed up for that Pat McAfee show. So I kind of want to talk about that. I mean, is this going to go sideways? I heard a stat where Aaron Rodgers is listed amongst some of the worst quarterbacks over the past 3 years in a couple of categories. I'm rooting for Aaron. I know Aaron is very polarized. He kind of got married over the summer, I guess. Didn't really come out with it, but then came out with it. He has a Netflix show. I think it should still be up, called Enigma. I would go check that out. I liked it. It showed you a different side of Aaron. And at the end of the day, he has changed, but is it our business to be in his family matters? I don't know. I guess it's really as much of our business as Aaron wants it to be, because he usually controls that narrative. So if you want to talk about any other team, what you're looking for this football season, what do you think the big headlines are going to be? The underrated headlines. Who's going to be an underrated team? There's usually one or two of them. I don't think there's going to be like 5 or 6, but you'll probably have 1 or 2 surprises. And we talked about this yesterday. Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero, getting arrested for holding illegal poker games at his house. And yeah, they're a little bit over the top, a little bit more extravagant, but at the end of the day, it's poker. We made a lot of jokes about it yesterday. What's next? Are the feds going to arrest us for playing fantasy football? Super Bowl squares? You better think twice. Gilbert Arenas danced out of the court or out of the jail today. Go check out the video. He's literally dancing, coming down the stairs. They can't keep me. Are you saying something like that? I love that from Gil. Good job, Gil. Really good job. So anyways, we've got a full day. Like I said, get up in here. We will take your phone calls. You also get another dose of the Napes tonight at 8 o'clock. Actually, one of our sound cuts has Napes and Jerry in it. So you'll hear a little bit of him here in the next, 30 minutes or 40 minutes. But 8 o'clock tonight, Napes for open forum. Give him a call. I think this Cousins thing was debated last night lightly on his show. So looking forward to having Grant back 8 o'clock. We're already at a Thursday, which means tomorrow we've got Royal Rumble Friday. We do our wrestling segment with Adam at the end of the show. We are pretty much there. So let's finish the week strong. We've got somebody on hold. We'll get to you in just 1 minute. Let's get to the chat, see what y'all are talking about. I'm guessing it's gonna be Boogie. What's up, Tristan? If you don't know Tristan,
every team really needs what I call a shitbird.
Yeah, he's one of those for us. I didn't say it. Jerry said it. Also, by the way, when we listen to when we start talking about DeMarcus Cousins, I am going to play some cuts that have cussing. So I want to give you advance notice. I left them in. I think they should be included in. So heads up, if you got any little ones with you. I mean, if I say I'm going to play some DeMarcus Cousins audio, I think that's already kind of known here. Like, if you're going to play some audio, you're probably going to hear a bad word from him. But I just want to give you a heads up. So, Ash, what's up? I usually hate your AI songs, but this song gives me life. Thanks, buddy. I'll tell my buddy AI. Thank you. Justin, hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good day too. Let's see. Justin back in the house. Peter, yeah, I knew you would say something, my man. Ryan wearing his favorite t-shirt again. No, Peter, this is your favorite t-shirt that I wear. This happens to be one of the more comfortable t-shirts that I wear. I mean, back in the day, if this was a radio show, you wouldn't even know what I was wearing. You wouldn't know what's around me. So I'm letting you into my house, and you're going to judge my shirt. I'm a proud Traeger owner. You got to use that thing this time of year. I've never done or cooked with, what's the other popular one? The big green egg or something like that. Do we have any eggers out there? I tried lifting the lid on one of those things, and it felt like picking up 100-pound dumbbell. These things are heavy. I'll hear your argument if you think it's a better grill. That's fine. All good. I mean, it's hard to get past charcoal once in a while. Hard to get past that. But anyways, all right. Let's go to the phones. Call like this dude. Anybody can you put in a better call than Mac? We'll see. Mac, what's up today, brother? Mac going once. Mac going twice. He's out. No Mac. We'll come back to him. Dave says no cousins. No cousins. You know, okay. If you don't, if what's the movie? Men in Black, right? If Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith came up to you and they put that what do they call it, like a memory stick, the thing that makes you forget everything that happened before you get that flash, it's called a memory stick.
It's cheap, and I like that wide stick.
Okay, so it is a stick. Thank you, Horse, for the help. If they did that to you and you had no memory of DeMarcus Cousins, and I read these numbers to you: 3-time All-Star selection, 2 times All-NBA second team, won a FIBA World Cup gold medal. I mean, we know it's kind of hard for Kings to get national recognition. I mean, on the surface, there's enough there for an argument. I mean, we'll talk about it. 470 games, 21.1 points here in Sacramento, 10.8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.2 blocks, 45% shooting from the field, 3-point percentage, 73. Oh, no, excuse me. 33.3% for the 3-point percentage, 45 for the field goal. The numbers were backwards there. I even have the draft that DeMarcus was drafted. And I was going to put that up because we can see, like, if we redrafted, what that draft would have looked like and who probably would have moved up and down. So, all right, let's try Mac one more time. Kick off the show. See if he is ready. Mac, what is going on today, buddy? You there, Mac? All right, no Mac. Mac is having difficulties today. We'll try him again another time. Mac, try to, I don't know. It says that your sound is not there. Bring Cousins back to Sacramento. Yeah. Progressive, you might be the one person at the airport waiting to pick him up. I want to be clear. I don't have a problem with DeMarcus Cousins outside of an arena or a basketball gym. I don't. I thought he was good for the community. I thought he treated those things well. But for as good as he was and quiet as he was off the floor, staying out of trouble, it was the complete opposite inside a gym. inside a locker room. Y'all remember Zach Randolph as a King, DeMarcus as a Pelican, and Randolph's right there on the lane with him, getting ready to box out for a free throw. And he told Cousins straight up, around here, bullies get bullied. That was good stuff. That was really good stuff. And DeMarcus, I guess the big problem that I have now, he's getting these different platforms in media. Like, are we going to ignore the fact that he stuck his middle finger between somebody's face and arm that was sitting courtside and ignited a huge, well, not a huge, but a mini Malice in the Palace in Puerto Rico? Are we just going to ignore that? Because he's been doing interviews ever since and not asked about that. Like, wasn't that just, and he was suspended for the rest of the season, wasn't that the icing on the cake of DeMarcus's run in basketball? Probably put him on ice for a little bit before you bring him on TV. And he's caused nothing but chaos. DeMarcus is passively selfish. That's what his actions are. And the words that he says, they are passively selfish. Oh, no, I'm not going to, you know what? I'm not going to break that news. I'm not going to break that news about Phoenix and guys throwing punches. He's trying to pull out whatever type of relevance he can. Seriously, this was just a couple of months ago. And after this, and when Tibbs, by the way, got fired, DeMarcus weighed in on that. And DeMarcus is saying, well, everybody knows behind the scenes that nobody likes Tibbs. Did you ever play for Tibbs, DeMarcus? Like, where are your sources, my man? Are you trying to be a reporter? If you are, you're not doing a good job of it. I mean, seriously, listen, this is what DeMarcus said about Phoenix. Check this out.
Things that happened. There was a lot of things that haven't been reported. I don't want to be the guy to report it, but I've definitely heard of some of the, negative things in the locker room. There was a couple of fist fights. There was a lot going on that obviously carries over into the court. So, for him to be the so-called blame of the negative seasons they've had, I think it's completely unfair.
Hold on. Boogie, are you saying there were fist fights in the Suns locker room amongst the Suns?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So with that being said,
that's normal though.
Is it?
Yeah, that's
boys
normal.
are so
I mean,
weird.
Look at Lou Williams.
It gets magnified when you lose.
Is it normal in today's game, or is it normal in our era?
Good follow-up. Good follow-up.
In today's game,
Boogie,
you have to be super friendly.
I'm trying to help you, Boogie. I'm trying to help you, Boogie.
Why is that?
You said you didn't want to be the person to break the news, so I was trying to take the cut.
I mean, I'm not going to
ahead.
go into the details.
I mean, at some point, when do you realize that the joke's on you? Like, I'm just curious. You're not being asked to come on these shows because of your basketball expertise. You're being asked to come on these shows because you say ridiculous things that are going to make headlines. And whether true or not, you're sharing stuff that you should never share. Wait till you hear what he just said the other day about Jokic. It's insane. Lou Williams was trying to pick him up too. Like, Lou's like, oh, it happens all the time, like, move on. And DeMarcus doubles down. And Lou's like,
I'm trying to help you, Boogie.
Trying to help you, Boogie. Come on, Bugs. I feel it's just such a waste. Such a waste. All right, let's try him one more time. What's up, Mac? Mac. Dang. Mac having issues today. The baby must be trying to call. And Mac's the one taking her nap. The baby is trying to get in on the show. All right, Mac, we'll try again. Let's see. Dave, Bibby was the best point guard Sacramento ever had. It's a tough one. I'm a Mike Bibby guy. I love Mike. I used to be around Mike a lot. I'll marinate on that. I'll think about that. DeMarcus gets inside information from Dennis. How good is that? Well done, Justin. Justin Kawhi thinks that's funny. Well done, dude. What's up, BJ? Aaron, wow, I can't believe we traded Cousins when he was 29 years old. In some ways, I can't believe that he lasted 6.5 seasons here. There was no way the Kings were going to, with everything that had happened, and I'm going to keep the stories, I'm going to leave the stories to Grant about what happened with coaches, what happened in the locker room, anything like that, you can ask Grant about. And he will happily talk about some of those interactions. In fact, I think Grant read a excerpt from the late Paul Westfall's book and shared some stories about what happened with Boogie and Paul Westfall. I have my own stories of being at games and just being absolutely flabbergasted at how he would address Kings fans and behave. And we've got some examples of it. And we might as well play the audio from yesterday. Let's do that. Let's play the audio from yesterday. This was DeMarcus Cousins on Mike Bibby. I forget the name of the podcast. There's another person on it as well. But and let's be clear, DeMarcus did not kick this hive. Mike Bibby is the one that came out and said, DeMarcus, your numbers should be retired. What do you think? Here's DeMarcus's response.
I think your jersey needs to be retired in Sacramento. I don't know the political side that comes with that stuff. How would you feel about your jersey getting retired in Sacramento?
I mean, obviously, it'd be an honor. That was something that I definitely wanted and strive for as far as, why I tried to go out and perform every single night. Accolade-wise, I feel like, I did all the right things, while I was in that jersey under the organization. So, as far as all-stars, as far as, all NBA selections.
Numbers,
gold medals. So, I think I put my work in. I think I earned my stripes. So, obviously, it's like you said, it's a political thing. But as far as the work being done, I think I did what needed to be done to, join the others in the raffles.
For sure.
You never know, man. Scott Perry's there now, and there's different regime coming in, and I know Scott is super dope, man. You just never know.
Scott Perry, man. I met Scott in the draft process when I was, coming through, and he was in Detroit. He was I spoke on another podcast before, and they, mentioned, one of the spots. So that was I mentioned one of the spots I was interested in going to. But that's
Detroit.
Coming out. Yeah, it just made sense to me. I built a relationship with Joe Dumars. I met Scott. They was really cool. They stayed on my line, things of that nature. So, I actually.
Aaron says, to tell the truth, I was so tired of the Cousins era. We had so many games where that we had. I read that as is. Where that we had. I'm going to start using that before shows, Aaron, to get my linguals warmed up, man. Games where that we had. Games where that we had. Ow, now, brown cow. Ow, now, brown cow. Now I'm going Anchorman. Had the better lineup on paper, and we would lose. Boogie, and I don't want to take this from Grant. I want to be clear. I think Grant or Jerry said this. Boogie was a generation early. The style of play that he brought was a generation early. There's conflicting reports about George Karl and other coaches telling him, you're not shooting the three ball. You're staying down low. Now, I don't know what Boogie's career would have looked like in the three-point era if the same behavior towards the media, towards teammates, towards fans, towards coaches would have slowed his career. Injuries slowed his career. Think about that. He has those back-to-back Achilles, right? It was an Achilles. He had 2 major back-to-back injuries, but he still got chances. Golden State gave him a chance. There's a number of teams. The Pelicans gave him a chance. They traded for him. The Lakers, the Nuggets. And he never stuck for more than a year. Do you remember when he was in street clothes and he got ejected from a game that he wasn't even playing in? I mean, there's so many moments. What about, and I want to get, this is the key word that I want to work around here and work this conversation around. It's politics. What does Boogie mean, quote unquote, politics is? Same thing with Mike. Mike said the word politics. So keep that in the back of your mind. But unfortunately, I want to think about the great memories of Boogie, because there were some. The first night back at the Golden One Center, at Arco Arena, the first game back at Arco Arena after Vivek bought the team, Boogie had 2 of the most amazing plays back-to-back that really ended up winning the game for the Kings. He had a massive putback, offensive rebound, big dunk, pulls the rim all the way down with him. And then the next possession up the floor, he takes a big charge. Those are the things that I want to think about, but unfortunately, when I think about Boogie Cousins, I think about stuff like this.
After 3 quarters, they do close the quarter. Oh boy, some pushing and shoving. Look at Rondo. Rajon Rondo going, oh, and Cousins just pushed the coach of the Chicago Bulls. He just pushed the assistant coach of the Bulls. Wow. And the officials are going to have to go look at this. Barnes pushes him. Here's a better angle. Well, you know what? You can't push your coach like that. Now he's going up to Leroy Richardson, but that is now the 15th technical foul on DeMarcus, and he better be careful. He's going to get his 16th here. You better be careful. Someone needs to get him away. He already has 15 technical fouls, and he is 1 away from an automatic suspension.
And the Bulls can't make free throws anyway.
Sherry.
The time's back up and good. How about Paul?
Okay. Let me set the scene because I know you only had the audio there. Matt Barnes gets into the scuffle and he's pushing. He's kind of got his arm on one of the Chicago assistant coaches. And the guy kind of stumbles a couple steps towards Boogie. Boogie shoves him back to the area where the confrontation's going. Doesn't even shove him from the front, shoves him from behind. And when Grant was talking about Boogie, better be careful. He's got 15 Ts. 16 will be a suspension. You know who else was chirping right next to him and throwing fuel on the fire? Matt Barnes, who's another bad apple. I mean, who would ever forget the confrontation between Boogie in the locker room with the reporter that wrote a story about an incident that happened in New York City with Matt Barnes and some of Boogie's family, a family member. Anybody remember this?
Coward. You say whatever the you want to say about me, but don't mention my family. But and you're doing it on the fly. But I think we're coming together at a pretty rapid pace.
Don't you feel better?
I was still talking.
I'm sorry.
I think we're coming together at a rapid pace, but still got a lot of growing to do.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Answering your damn questions anyway. Like,
That's to a reporter. Like, think about the things DeMarcus has done on camera in front of full arenas. So, going back to the word politics, let me read you the list of the Kings that have their numbers retired. Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, all of you, the number 6. Love that. Bob Davies, Maurice Stokes, Oscar Robinson, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac, Jack Twyman, Sam Lacey, and DeMarcus Cousins. Does that name fit there? The Kings have taken a lot of flack over the last 6 years about being a quote-unquote woke team. Vivek Ranadive jumps at any chance, and so does NBC Sports California, to bring back any past Kings. Heck, they had Matt Barnes up there. I respect Matt for being an incredible Sacramento athlete, local product from Galt. He's had national success with Steven Jackson on the Up in Smoke show, podcast. I believe it was on HBO last time I checked. But dude's not a good dude. Just go look up the problems he has had. The Kings had him on TV. They eventually yanked him off TV. This owner is willing to seemingly bring back anybody. So wouldn't this owner by now have brought back DeMarcus Cousins? Not in a player's role, but in some type of media role. Certainly Boogie is trying to be involved in the media. He's not doing a good job of it, but he's trying. So I have a really hard time with the word politics being the reason that Boogie doesn't get his number retired. What politics? Your politics are right in line with this owner. So who's the one that's keeping DeMarcus from having his jersey retired? Listen to what DeMarcus said. Check this out. This is what DeMarcus just recently said about Nikola Jokic. And listen to how much information behind the curtain. We're talking about WWE Unreal, how it's pulling back the curtain, maybe just a little too much. I would tell you that is exactly what DeMarcus is doing for some of his past teammates. You know, what's Grant say? Grant's rule of thumb has always been, if a normal person, like I'm not going to talk about it if a normal person wouldn't have had the access that I had. So if something happened in front of him, and it's because Grant was a member of team staff, he wasn't going to report on it. He kept it to himself. But check out what Boogie says about Jokic.
opinion, obviously. I ain't gonna get on that tangent. But what are your thoughts on Jokic?
It's a bad boy, man. Bad dude. Like the part that makes me love Jokic as much as I do is more so his personality. And it's the fact that, like, if you ever get a chance to just hold a conversation with him and just he tells you a little bit about himself, he'll let you know off rip. He really don't give a fuck about this shit. Like he doesn't care at all. This is like his second or third like favorite thing to do. Maybe third or fourth. Like it's most games where he's, dropping one of these crazy styles. He probably doesn't even want to be there. And that's the scary part about all of it. Like,
that's crazy.
No, it really is. When I was with Denver, our lockers were next to each other, and I don't remember who at the time had signed an extension, but I'm like, such and such signed it for his money. I'm like, man, yours gonna be crazy. He was like, cuz I honestly think I might retire after this contract. I said, and leave $300 million on the table. I said, man, you out your motherfucking mind, man. Like, I said, sign the contract and just get fat at worst. Like, don't pass up.
Sign the contract and just get fat. Sign the contract and just get fat.
$300 million, bro. Like,
no, you can't do that.
Nah, don't do that. He like, cuz I just want to go lay in my I believe he called it like a valley or something like that. I just want to lay out there with my horses. I'm like, yo, them horses gonna be there, bro. Go get
your 3.
You can get more horses. Go get the 300, bro.
Okay, so let's look at some of the things that are commonalities between at least the local or the most recent Kings to have their numbers retired. Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, Peja, Vlade. Let's keep it to that group. How much do you hear from Mitch Richmond? How much does Mitch Richmond stir the pot? What about Chris Webber? And Chris Webber has done a fair amount to stir the pot at times. Definitely had some problems with the truth, dating back all the way to college. Peja. How often do you see him on podcasts stirring the pot? Vlade Divac. Legend. In Serbia, Justin says high character Kings. And that's what it comes down to. I think it's the character. And I understand the conflict. If you talk to anybody that spent time with DeMarcus off the court, out of the building, out of the locker room, away from the team, I should say that, away from the team, they're going to tell you nothing but great things. They're going to tell you he is a high character guy. He cares about the right things. But who put this in? Let me make sure I get back to the right comment because you're making my point for me. Perfect. Aaron, looking back, he should have, or we should have embraced the villain role of the NBA. Aaron, my argument is he took that way too far. He over embraced that. And I don't think it was a decision. I think clearly there were some red flags before he was drafted that the Kings thought they could work through. There's certain things that at times you have to ask the question, is Boogie Cousins in control of things? In the moment. That's the important part. In the moment. I've had to ask myself that. watching him play. So I just don't know what the politics are. This would have been the perfect owner to retire his jersey. Still is the perfect owner to retire his jersey. Why would it be Scott Perry that changes that? I think everything that happened on the court, just here in Sacramento, you don't even have to take it to the other places where he clearly winds up and tries to knock Westbrook out with an elbow. Talked about being thrown off or thrown out of a game that he's not even playing in. Getting into fights with the crowd in Puerto Rico. Excluding all of that, unfortunately, I think the majority of Sacramento Kings fans would go to the exact same thoughts that I opened up my thoughts with, which was I really would like to think about those amazing plays that he would make at time, the effort, the hustle. Maybe he cares too much. How can you get mad at a guy for that? I want to think about the 3 all-star selections, the 2 all-second teams, gold medal in FIBA. That's what I want to think about. But you put Cousins up with those other guys. You know what else goes along with those other guys? Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac. Winning. Contributed to those numbers being raised. So where do you all stand? I think it's an interesting conversation. The word politics to me, though, it doesn't fly. I can't make it work. I mean, remember when Boogie grabbed the microphone from Eileen Voisin of the Sacramento Bee? Check this out.
Potential contract extension for you this summer. Is this where you want to be, Sacramento?
Yeah, I love Sacramento. That's where I want to be. Y'all want me to be here? Haley? Haley, you want me to be here?
Always have.
Can't hear you. Say it a little louder.
Didn't you say you always wanted to be here?
I asked you, did you want me to be here?
Well, what's it going to cost? What's the...
Hello?
No comment. I'm not the GM.
Okay, where Andy? Andy, would you like me to remain here?
This is not my call, but I would say for me, I would say no. For me, I would say no.
Me, I would say no.
Okay. Well, guess what? Guess what, people? I'm here.
That was like the tricky thing with him. You didn't know if he was playing or not. Is he being funny? And it could snap on the drop of a dime. So where do y'all stand? Baki, what's up, dude? Late, but don't tell me something is cooking about this clown from the pick. No, nothing is cooking. Baki, and for anybody else just joining us, the conversation that we are having, Mike Bibby had their podcast. I don't know the name of it, but Mike asked Boogie Cousins and gave his opinion within the question that Mike believes that DeMarcus's number should be retired. And he asked DeMarcus if he thinks his number should be retired. Here's the cut for you.
I think your jersey needs to be retired in Sacramento. I don't know the political side that comes with that stuff. How would you feel about your jersey getting retired in Sacramento?
I mean, obviously, it'd be an honor. That was something that I definitely wanted and strive for as far as, why I tried to go out and perform every single night. You know, accolade wise, I feel like, you know, I did all the right things, you know, while I was in that jersey under the organization. So, you know, as far as all-stars, as far as, you know, all NBA selections,
numbers,
gold medals. So, you know, I think I put my work in. I think I earned my stripes. So, you know, obviously, it's like you said, it's a political thing. But as far as the work being done, I think I did what needed to be done to, you know, join the others in the rafters.
For sure.
You never know, man. Scott Perry's there now, and there's you know different regime coming in, and I know Scott is super dope, man. You just never know.
Scott Perry, man. I met Scott in the draft process when I was, you know, coming through, and he was in Detroit. He was I spoke on another podcast before, and they, you know, mentioned, you know, one of the spots. So that was I mentioned one of the spots I was interested in going to.
Is it politics? Or is he just Sacramento's?
Yeah, coach would have put me in fourth quarter. We'd have been state champions, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. You better believe things would have been different. I'd have gone pro. A heartbeat. I'd be making millions of dollars and living in a big old mansion somewhere.
Hey, Baki, since you just joined, I want you to listen to this. Sorry, everybody. I know we just played this, but I want Baki to hear this. I want Baki to hear this because Baki is so familiar with Nikola Jokic. Baki, how do you think the Joker would take this? This was Boogie Cousins just within the last couple days talking about Jokic.
And obviously, I ain't gonna get on that tangent. But what are your thoughts on Jokic?
It's a bad boy, man. Bad dude. Like the part that makes me love Jokic as much as I do is more so his personality. And it's the fact that, like, if you ever get a chance to just hold a conversation with him and just he tells you a little bit about himself, he'll let you know off rip. He really don't give a fuck about this shit. Like he doesn't care at all. This is like his second or third like favorite thing to do. Maybe third or fourth. Like it's most games where he's, you know, dropping one of these crazy styles. He probably doesn't even want to be there. And that's the scary part about all of it. Like,
that's crazy.
No, it really is. When I was with Denver, you know, our lockers were next to each other, and you know, I don't remember who at the time had signed an extension, but you know, I'm like, such and such signed it for his money. I'm like, man, yours gonna be crazy. He was like, you know, cuz I honestly think I might retire after this contract. I said, and leave $300 million on the table. I said, man, you out your motherfucking mind, man. Like, I said, sign the contract and just get fat at worst. Like, don't pass up on the $300 million, bro. Like,
no, you can't do that.
Nah, don't do that. He like, cuz I just want to go lay in my I believe he called it like a valley or something like that. I just want to lay out there with my horses. I'm like, yo, them horses gonna be there, bro. Go get
your 3.
You tripping. Like, you can get more horses. Go get the 300, bro.
So, Baki, all those things might be true, but those aren't things that you pull the curtain that far back on. We've all heard the same things about Jokic. You've seen the videos where it comes time for practice and the guys are having to pull him on the court. But going that far, like, I think he's really pissing off a lot of people around the NBA. That's what I think. Kevin Durant, before this, who clapped back at him about the Phoenix comments. Thanks for being here. King's Court Thursday. Grant coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. A lot of questions still about what is going on with Jonathan Kuminga. You had a couple audio reports yesterday. This was,
he wants to go. He wants to go.
He wants to go.
Mark Spears.
And the Kings are offering a starting spot.
Okay.
Power forward next to Keegan Murray, next to Sabonis. He's talked on a Zoom call with Scott Perry, as you know, the GM, B.J. Armstrong, the assistant GM, and also with their head coach.
Okay.
So he's in.
Right.
He wants to go there, but I think that first, the Warriors don't like the first, And then the Suns, I heard they're like offering Royce O'Neal in 4 seconds and Nick Richards. That's just not pretty enough.
So everything that I had heard was 20 was a lot for the Kings. 20 was a lot. And the offer included DeMar DeRozan. The Warriors did not want DeMar DeRozan. They really want Keegan Murray, which isn't going to happen. You've heard reports that Keegan and Keon are pretty much untouchable. This was Sam Amick yesterday on the Plus Minus podcast.
To the tango, and that's the issue, is that, I can't speak too much to the Phoenix side in terms of all the particulars of their level of interest, of what number they're at. Obviously I'm close to the Sacramento side, and it's like, it's not just up to the Warriors. For one, it was reported that the Kings had offered, I think it was Devin Carter and a future first. There was another piece in there, and my understanding, I don't think that the Warriors were really interested in Carter. Same goes for DeMar DeRozan. So it's like, those types of things are issues. The contract is an issue. As of a couple of weeks ago, a team like the Kings, they weren't looking to pay Jonathan, maybe not even up into the 20 million range annually. And that's an issue for his camp. So that's not a deal that he's looking to agree to. So it's just it's a puzzle where the pieces aren't fitting together. And I don't know. I agree that the emotional side of it feels like it needs to come to an end. But like, in terms of the pieces and the way it functions here, like, I could see it dragging on for a while longer and into the season.
Yeah, but
so as of today, there's some reports that Kuminga and the Warriors are stuck not at a number, which is the number's 24 million. The problem is the second year on that. And is it a player option? Is it a team option? The Warriors also want him to waive a no trade clause, which was news to me. I had no idea that Kuminga had a no trade clause. So for now, I think the Kings are probably out as of right now of the Kuminga running, unless the Warriors end up changing what they want. They change their mind about DeMar DeRozan. I just don't see how you can get there otherwise, to be honest with you. And the pitch that the Kings made was just what Sam talked about. It was over a Zoom call. And yes, starting sounds great. Actually, Sacramento would be a great place for Jonathan Kuminga. It would be a good place to have a short-term contract to show what you can do. There's a perfect spot to showcase your talents in the starting lineup if DeMar DeRozan's not here. So if the Warriors don't want DeMar and Kuminga still comes, you've got an issue on your hands. Are you sitting DeMar down and putting him as the sixth man? Are you doubling back with Kuminga and saying, yeah, you're not going to start, but you're going to be our sixth man? Are you going to Zach LaVine and saying, hey, Zach, we want you to be a big explosion guy off the bench for us? You've got liabilities on all three of those options. Major liabilities. Zach LaVine fell out of favor with him and Billy Donovan were not seeing eye to eye for a while in Chicago, to the point they were not even speaking. DeMar DeRozan was the go-between. So you're stuck to Zach for another 2 years. I believe it's 2 or 3 years. So you don't want to rattle that cage too much either. So I just don't see how it works yet. And I think the Warriors, quite frankly, other than getting him under contract, there is zero rush to get him off the books. Zero. They showed last year they don't mind sitting him on the end of the bench. They don't mind it at all. But they're going to wait. In my opinion, they're going to wait to get what they want. And what the Kings have right now is not what they want. You know, you think about injuries that could happen leading up to training camp, that can happen in training camp, that can happen in the preseason, that can happen in the first couple weeks of the season. That changes everything. Now, A team may need to go grab somebody, and Kuminga, for any team needing a power forward, is probably near the top of that list. I just don't know. The $24 million, that's a lot of money for Kuminga. 24 a year. Are the Kings ready to make that commitment to somebody? I think you're almost better off getting your younger guys more minutes and just getting them more experience on the court. I think you might be. You got to wait and see, because you still got that. The one thing I threw out yesterday, which is pretty silly, you can laugh at me, but if I'm Scott Perry, I am somehow trying to make Zach LaVine sexy to the Warriors. I'm really trying to sell the upside of Zach LaVine. I'm also selling that his contract is right on line with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler sunsetting. I'm saying Zach LaVine played this many games last year. Like, if you really want to make a run for it, go get LaVine. That might take your team over the top. Now, would they be willing to take that contract? Probably not, because nobody else in the NBA would. But you also have to figure in the Warriors' position. The Warriors really have not done much this offseason. Not much at all. In fact, they've lost some guys. One name that still could be in play for the Warriors would be Al Horford. I could see Al Horford finding the Warriors to be a desirable place. But that's what I would be doing. If you don't like what we can give you with DeMar, why don't you pay for the younger upgrade? Yeah, it's a lot of risk, but it might take the Warriors, a 3-point shooting team, a pace team, to a different place. So you might have some leverage if you're Scott, but trying to offload that contract, that is just such a big ask. There's the financials as you look at them right now. Aaron says that's actually pretty good. Yeah, I don't think it's terrible. You have to sit somebody. Yeah, well, and here's the other thing. What about Neek? I told Jerry and I made our quote-unquote bold predictions on this last show on Tuesday. And I said, I think Neek is going to be first or second team All-NBA. I think he's going to be one of those guys that you're just going to have to find minutes for. Just going to be a really good basketball player all around. Defense is kind of the wild card for him. But the way he sees sees the floor, his size, he knows his spots. I wasn't so much looking at what he was doing against lesser than NBA talent. I was looking at how he got to spots, how he got guys off of the spot that he wanted, and the composure that he was able to go up and get his shot, his move, not having to sacrifice that. Basketball players are all about muscle memory. If they get to their spot, if they get the right space, it's done from there. It's muscle memory. And sure, you're going to have a clank here, a clank there, but more times than not, that's a make. And you saw that a lot with Neek. And Neek struggled with fouls in the last 2 games, but the rest is history. The Suns' offer for Kuminga seems worse. Well, that's, again, the same thing. The Warriors don't have to. They don't have to go one way or the other. This is not in fact, the Warriors would be doing something closer to what the Kings did. And De'Aaron Fox, much better player, much better than Jonathan Kuminga, but taking the best of 2 bad deals. The Kings only had 1 deal, and it was San Antonio. They didn't talk to anybody else. I think the Warriors will not make that same mistake. BJ, what's up, dude? Stepped out, came back. Hello, Baki. First time I heard that from Cousins. It was a lot about when he said, get fat, get worse. So typical. Well, one of DeMarcus's most remembered rants was about you know what? Do we have it? Let me see if we have it. We might have it. Here we go.
Oh man, they're doing it wrong, right? With the con, bro. My problem with that part is like you really don't you got to kind of be on both sides of it to understand. Like you really aren't in control of your legacy. Like as much as they try to. Like they sell you this dream, all you gotta do is work hard, work on basketball every day. You can go be the greatest. It's up to you. Like, nah, motherfucker, it ain't that simple.
Say it again.
It's really not that simple,
it's
bro.
It's not ever that simple.
Because once you get to this side, now your legacy is in that organization's hands.
Yep.
And if you fuck around and go to the wrong organization, oh shit, legacy what?
Doghouse.
Who the fuck is that?
Who is he?
Oh, he's a bust. Like, God damn,
we
bro.
thought he was good.
Yeah, well, I didn't even really get an opportunity to get put in the right situation.
No shake. I got no shake.
I mean, since I've been drafted here, we've been rebuilding for the past 6, 7 years.
Yeah,
How the fuck is that my fault?
Damn.
Like,
You could have been an all-star if they wasn't doing it by like this era. They're like, they don't count the record. It's more about stats. Like you had the stats.
no, they count the record still.
Oh, like
They count the record. I made some all-stars on basketball.
I know, but in the beginning, when they was like,
I mean, for me, I didn't look at it like that.
but he was average,
I'm
like
bald.
20-something.
I didn't look at it like that because of the guys that were in front of me. I mean, I came in, Tim Duncan was still Tim Duncan, Cole was still Cole. You had Andrew Bynum, Paul Gasol running shit. Like, so I was behind some Zebo, Mark Gasol. You had like real dogs in front of me. So for me, I didn't look at it as, you know, I'm in a losing situation. I can't make it. It's just like, well, bro, you're going to have to do better. You're going to have to outshine all these motherfuckers in front of you.
Start winning.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't control my
Can't
situation.
control that, yeah. But he know in the back of his mind.
In my head, though, I'm going
winning,
in. I got to figure out a way to outshine all these motherfuckers.
When I went to Denver,
Isn't that the NBA? Tell me the last draft pick. Truly, maybe Steph Curry. They got to choose their situation. Ace Bailey's agent tried to do it. Didn't work. DeMarcus just has that it's the wrong chip. Oh, well, if I would have got to choose my situation. Wasn't my choice to be drafted to a loser. I see being drafted to the loser is the best opportunity to create your own legacy and turn it into a winner. But nah, it's all about perspective. And I just don't think, again, that's why you can put him next to Mitch Richmond, Chris Webber, Oscar Robertson, Maurice Stokes, Bob Davies, all of you, the number 6, Peja Vlade, Jack Twyman, Sam Lacey. You can't do it. In fact, I think DeMarcus just keeps digging the hole deeper and deeper. If anybody wants to talk about politics, he's playing a one-party political game. There's nobody else playing against him. There's not the other side of the aisle. He's just digging a hole. You're not making it better. You're making it worse. And then the quote that I was looking for, there's a famous quote. Well, no, not famous, but there was one where he's talking about, you know, it's not in my mentality to lose. Do you think when I go to train, and I'm paraphrasing, that I'm training to lose? No, like I'm training to win. And, you know, like you can't have that mindset and then listen to that Jokic cut and say, just take the money and get fat. Because the best athletes, like the greatest in this game, they would play for free. They would never get fat for free. They would just, they're wired different. Mitch Richmond. What did Mitch Richmond do with the losing team? And I know Mitch Richmond's probably the best comp right now. Wouldn't you say Mitch Richmond's the best comp that you could put DeMarcus Cousins up to? I think Mitch Richmond is probably DeMarcus Cousins argument. Well, Mitch was on a losing team here in Sacramento. Mitch was an all-star MVP. Mitch won a gold medal in the Olympics. You know, there is a difference between FIBA and the Olympics. Like, you can't sell a gold medal as a gold medal. You need to specify that. And what was so sad about that is DeMarcus came back different that year. He really did. Being around some of those better guys in the NBA, I think some of them kind of checked him and put him in his place at times. They gave him some good advice. And it was a different DeMarcus for about 15 games, and then it faded. So, I don't want to call him a clown. He just, to blame it on politics, you can't do that. There is no politics. If anybody was going to put his jersey up, it's this owner. We know that. DeMarcus hasn't been on Kings TV. This owner doesn't want to touch DeMarcus. I mean, hasn't this owner ran through as like the entire list of Kings that you can put on TV? Put them in the chat. We've had, and I love Mike. Mike is great. I think he does a good job. Henry Turner, you can't count. He's been around forever on the radio, the high flyer. But we've seen Matt Barnes. Okay, there's your argument. The owner was willing to put Matt Barnes on TV, but he's not willing to put DeMarcus Cousins. That tells you a lot. Mitch was high character. Absolutely. That goes very much in his favor. I mean, I guess I would ask this. Seriously, I mean this serious. If you were at the game that DeMarcus was having his jersey retired, what would your reaction be? What would it be? Kalen says, I enjoyed watching him play. His antics made 1140 more interesting, but he should not have his number retired. Aaron says, I was always hoping for the Kings could break the 40 win mark during the Cousins era. We never did. Good point. Kalen back in. Kings never made the playoffs. No, they did not. Matt, we're so individualized in America that we think it's weird to value family and sentimental things over a successful job. Oh, I've got an America take. I do. And it's not going to be anything that you're expecting. Did you see what the president signed back in today? Into federal law? So many of you are going to remember this. Guess what's coming back? The Presidential Fitness Award. Do you remember doing that in elementary school? I do. You had to do like so many pull-ups, so many push-ups. You had to be able to run a mile in, I don't know. It was a ridiculous number. It was like 14 minutes. It wasn't that much. They're bringing that back. I love that. I think that's kind of cool. And this is a politic-free zone, but that does have to do with working out in sport. But the Presidential Physical Fitness Award is coming back. That is so cool. That is awesome. Love it. I'm kind of with some of you that say De'Aaron would have his number retired before. Yeah, I think De'Aaron definitely would have had his number retired. I mean, when you think about numbers being retired, it's not always about the win column. We've seen numbers retired with guys that didn't win a championship, that were on losing teams. But I think the most important thing, there's three types to me. There's the first type where you are just the best player the franchise has ever seen. Slam dunk. You are the greatest. No question. You hear that name, you see that name, you think greatness. And not just your fan base, every other fan base thinks that same way. I think the second column is the winning times. It's the Bibby, it's the Weber, it's the Vlade, it's the Peja. But when you look at the list of Kings who have their numbers retired, I don't think we really put enough shine on the fact that that era, sorry, landscapers are here. If you're getting any of that in the background. I don't think we put enough shine on how much that team changed basketball. Like, I don't think that, and I said this to Jim Rome, like Jim and I were doing a segment. He was on a station visit here at 1140. And I got to go up and talk with him about the Kings for 5 minutes on the air. And I said the chemistry that the Kings had on the court, the way that they played the 5-man basketball, the love for each other, the character, like there was a character standard on that team. It was unmatched. I think it was the best chemistry you had ever seen on an NBA team up until later years. And I think the Warriors were somewhat built around the Kings. I think that Kings team from 2001 to 2006, I mean, really, yeah, 2001, 2006. Well, 2000, however you want to put it, 2000 or 2006. But mainly 01, 02, 03. I think that team set the stage for 5-man basketball and positionless basketball. So you're looking at that era, and I think 4 guys are from that era because that era was so special. It was something different, and that's not just something that the Kings recognize. I mean, nationally, it's recognized how special that team was. Other fan bases say we should have won a championship. Well, a championship isn't everything, although it feels like it. I don't know that that team could have had any more impact on the NBA, even if they had won the championship that year. So that's why I think you have 4 of those guys up there. And then you have the last category. The guys that you remember really good times, whether they were winning or losing. You remember competing. You remember exciting. There was individual accomplishment for whoever the best player on that team was. There were all-star bids, MVP, Olympic bids, right? You knew it was something different. You know, you could compare the Mitch Richmond era to and I know the Kings made that playoffs, that 97. Mitch was on that team still in 97, wasn't he? Or no? Help me out. Help me out there. I don't remember if Mitch was on that team or not. I feel like he was, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was already traded for Weber. What year was that trade? All right, I don't want to get off sidetrack, but you look back at the Mitch times and you think about some really good memories. Really good memories. Gary St. Jean as the coach, just all around. Even though they weren't winning and in the playoffs every year, it was good basketball. If Cousins' jersey is in the Raptors, what do you think about that era? I think about turmoil. I think about losing. I think about how many coaches the Kings went through. I think about all the moving. So is that what he's referring to in terms of the politics? But that's the separator for me. I think that's why you can't compare Richmond to Cousins, even though some of the thank you fans, I will never forget that first game, the first playoff game. Was anybody there? I'm curious. Was anybody there? Mitch was on that team. He led that team to it. That's right. He did get them to the playoffs. So there's another separator. Was anybody there? So right before the Kings came out, that song, a remake of Come With Me, had come out with Jimmy Page and an artist that may or may not be currently incarcerated in crazy. But it was just and the team came running out. Everybody was in their seat with 20 minutes left to go in warmups, and the building was just shaking. I think Grant says that was probably his best Arco. Ask Grant about that tonight. Ask him tonight at 8:00. That was his best Arco memory. It was insane. So Grant be back with you at 8:00 tonight. Back to the chat. Paul was there. Do you know what I'm talking about, Paul? Were you there early enough to be a part of that? I always that song and that Kings game, that's like one of those memories that gives me goosebumps. What's up, Gail? When you think of Vlade, do you see him more of a Sacramento King or a Laker? Sacramento King, 100%. He was the backbone of that Kings team. He was the dad of that Kings team. He was the glue that held that team together. Anybody see differently on that? Petrie, yep. Rick Adelman. I think Mitch, yep, we hit that. Yes, Mitch was in the playoffs, that's right. And they're playing the Sonics. Come with me. Do, 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 do. You know what? See, now I'm starting to, I'm getting juiced. Rhino just got home from work an hour ago and find out my SF Giants had a fire sale today. Got rid of some players. I'm sad. Rock, I'm sorry about that, buddy. My bad, dude. Yeah, I haven't been covering baseball a whole lot today. It's the trade deadline. I mean, Rock, were you really going to be able to contend with the Dodgers? What's the name of the guy that came over from Boston? Starts with a V, I think. What's his name? My bad, Rock. He hasn't been great since being here. But Rock, I got it one time for you. Dorian, what's up, man? Dorian, I did not a whole day, but a decent day on Sac State football. Would have loved to have you there on that show. If Sacramento wouldn't have lost that series against the Lakers, the Kings would not be where they are right now. No drama with the move to Seattle. No 16 years of losing. I don't know if I can agree with that, Dorian. Because how are the Sacramento Kings going to a Kings championship going to stop the 2007-2008 financial crisis? That's what got them loose. But if you're talking about having better product on the floor, I mean, you would have had to make, the Kings got to that place, right? The summer after they lost to the Lakers, you extended Bibby. I think it was 4 years. I want to say like $82 million off the top of my head. Weber, that's hard to say, Dorian, because Weber may have still had the knee injuries. I get you. See what you're seeing. I see what you're saying. Paul, Malone, Stockton, Barkley, etc. Those type of guys deserve their numbers. Retired. There's something to that about what you do outside of that city as well. I think there is something to that. Look, if this makes it back to Boogie, I mean this. with all due respect, but with where, and again, the word politics that they're talking about, but with all due respect, Boogie, if the Kings put your jersey in the rafters right now with the situation that they are in, we would be even more laughed at. That would not be celebrated outside of Sacramento. Can anybody, do you agree with me there? Like, wait for the national jokes. PTI. All right, it's off to the big finish. DeMarcus Cousins, who was a two-time All-Star, FIBA gold medalist, bounced around from 5 other teams, played some overseas, started a fight in Puerto Rico. He's having his number retired in Sacramento tonight. Thoughts, Mike? Tough ask. It's a tough ask. What it comes down to is this. How do fans look back? When you look at that jersey, you're not just looking at and thinking about that player. You're thinking about that period of basketball. Can anybody look back at that period of basketball and be positive and be joyful and be happy? It's a big ask. Matt, hope this isn't too personal, but is it in the Sac area? I need to find something to replace 24-hour. You're looking for a new gym in my chat? Interesting. Elk Grove just built Devers. Yeah, good job, Joe. Gail. She knows because she's a chowd. She is a chowd. And that's where he came from. Do you think he's having any effect on the Giants' fire sale? The fact that he is not excelled per se. Paul, I can't even believe we're thinking about. Yeah, I know. Well, hey, this was not me. I'm sorry to kick it to my man Mike, but Mike, I love you. Great dude. Thank you for everything you've done with me. Love working your camps. Appreciate the one-on-one time. But this was Mike's opinion.
I think your jersey needs to be retired in Sacramento. I don't know the political side that comes with that stuff. How would you feel about your jersey getting retired in Sacramento?
I mean, obviously, it'd be an honor. That was something that I definitely wanted and strive for as far as, why I tried to go out and perform every single night. Accolade-wise, I feel like, I did all the right things, while I was in that jersey under the organization. So, as far as all-stars, as far as, all NBA selections.
Numbers,
gold medals. So, I think I put my work in. I think I earned my stripes. So, obviously, it's like you said, it's a political thing. But as far as the work being done, I think I did what needed to be done to, join the others in the rafters.
For sure.
You never know, man. Scott Perry's there now. And there's, different regime coming in. And I know Scott is super dope, man. You just never know.
Scott Perry, man. I met Scott in the draft process when I was, coming through, and he was in Detroit. He was.
Yeah.
I spoke on another podcast before, and they, mentioned, one of the spots. So that was, I mentioned one of the spots I was interested in going to. But that's
Detroit.
Yeah, coming out. Yeah, it just made sense for me. I built a relationship with Joe Dumars. I met Scott. They was really cool. They stayed on my line, things of that nature. So, I actually.
Yeah, you know what, though? Yeah, Mike Bibby, Paul. Yeah, you can make the argument that podcast talk isn't real. You can also make the argument that it is the number one source that people get their news from now. And I think you got to go case by case and show by show. and know the character of that show. Are they usually throwing shade, saying stuff just to get clicks, or is it show where like they're legit talking some decent basketball? I don't know about this show, but I do know I think DeMarcus Cousins believes that with his whole heart. I think he does. So I don't know. Interesting. No worries, dude. Got to multitask. Speaking about interesting, y'all, I'm sorry. I got to remind you, this was absolutely dreadful yesterday. Like, dreadful. How did this happen? How did that happen? 5 squares that we missed. We missed 2 king squares. Haunted Horse was responsible for one of those. Man, that was brutal. Absolutely brutal. We do these on Wednesdays once in a while during the slow time of the year. But how do we go and do that? Paul would retire Jay Will's number first. Fair enough. If you're just tuning in, we talked about Jonathan Kuminga and the Warriors, the latest there. No rush for Jonathan Kuminga, or the Warriors, excuse me, to trade him. The only pressing thing is to get him signed. Also, football's back tonight. Kinda. I know I'm excited for it. I'm one of those guys. You're either or guys or gals. I'm in the camp that I actually really like preseason because you get to see players get extended play that are literally fighting for their football careers. Like, every rep matters. My best friend growing up, some of you, if you're UCD alum, will or may recognize the name Tony Kays. At one time, he was the all-time leading receiver at UC Davis. He got a contract with the Bengals, free agency contract, to go play with them. And he made it all the way till the final cuts, but he only got 2, 3, 4 plays or series, and he made the most out of them. Made a nice catch, bloodied his nose. But that's what it's about. It's about these undrafted guys trying to make a roster. I really, really enjoy it. Do you like it? Don't gamble on it, by the way. You're a degenerate if you gamble or know the analytics of any of the players that are going to play most of the time tonight. But Hall of Fame game signifies the start of the preseason for the most part. Has Hard Knocks began yet? I don't know if Hard Knocks has begun. Probably the best TV football reality show out there. I like Quarterback, but something about Hard Knocks. Really, really good stuff. So you got football back tonight. How do y'all think this is going to play out? Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin. I don't know how these two come together. In fact, if you ask me to do the opposite and put a list together of the guys that would never work together, I would have probably picked those two. You'd think there's going to be a big power struggle, but Mike Tomlin, Pat McAfee, his show, came to or went to camp the other day, and he was asked about doing things a little bit different. Recruiting. He was part of recruiting Aaron Rodgers. Interesting. Check this out.
In the offseason, free agency, never really a thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This year, making moves, bringing in obviously Aaron Rodgers, who you texted for a couple of months. How does it feel this way of doing things versus maybe what it had always been with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I'm not resistant to change. I don't think you can
do what I've done as long as I can do it, being resistant to change. And so I try to be open to doing things differently, to taking a different approach. It's refreshing for me. I'm excited by it. Certainly made moves that we deem necessary in the effort to position ourselves to be what they need and want us to be.
So that was Mike Tomlin. He's not resistant to change. I'm not sure if anybody saw Lisa, take it from me. Sometimes when you have an awesome one-liner, you got to let that one-liner breathe. I get it. It was a good one. It was a really good one. And I know that better than anybody. Gail knows that too. Sometimes when you hit the nail on the head, you got to let it stand on its own. It takes away from it. You got to let it go. Like, when you try to do a little too much.
Ryan, that's not funny or interesting or anything at all.
Those are the things that happen. You get hammered nationally. Oh boy. Anyways, no, it was a great line, Lisa. Really good line. But watching Mike Tomlin on the Hard Knocks last season, it was the AFC. What was it? It was the AFC North, I think it was. That was actually really interesting to see their preparation, and that's why he hasn't had a losing season in a while. So, speaking of winning seasons, winning places, can't go wrong places. You know, I got to talk to you about our favorite place around here. That's Bennett's. All three of their locations here in the greater Sacramento area, Rockland, Roseville, Howland, Fair Oaks, whatever's closest for you. The awesome thing about Bennett's, it's literally has everything. You've got the prime cuts of steak. You've got great fresh seafood cooked in original and very creative ways. And then you've got specials across the board with a lot of those same items. A special's running every day at Bennett's. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. You can check out all of them. Weekend brunch. You can get a couple of entrees and a bottle of champagne for $45.99. How about that? Happy hour, 2 to 6 o'clock, all week long. No restrictions unless you're Dennis. And they also do prime rib on the weekends. Really cool stuff. Right now, they're doing a Taste of Summer menu where you can get 2 courses for $30. Pay the extra $5, get the dessert. It's worth it for sure. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com. Seriously, check out all they have to offer. Promise you will not be disappointed. Brian and Margot, the teams at all 3 locations, just great people. Promise you will get a great meal at more than a fair price. And said this the other day, but like if you take your parents there, like if you're a college student, you're like, hey, mom and dad, come on, let me take you out to dinner. Let me take you out to dinner. They're gonna think like you're doing something illegal. So maybe don't do that. Maybe take the girl out or the guy out to dinner at Bennett's. But seriously, go check them out. Let us know when you check them out. Let them know that you heard about him here on the channel. Again, love Brian, love Margot, love the entire team there. We will probably, I've been teasing this, be doing an event that all of you have asked for at some point here in the near future. Get together, maybe a road game for the Kings that we can watch together, have some great food, and gather this community, this court. And also, if you don't like that, and Grant's fans, hopefully Grant will be able to be there as well. We've done them before. We did for the playoffs a couple of shows from Bennett's in 22-23. We had a couple of watch parties for the playoffs. We broadcasted from there. Grant and I had our heads shaved there a year or two before. No, was it before that season? We had our heads shaved there. Y'all came together and raised a ton of money for us to shave our heads. That was the funniest thing, how that all came together. Anyways, go check out Bennett's. You can do your reservations online, put in your to-go orders, and much more. BennettRestaurants.com. That was the craziest thing about how that came together. So I don't know what we were doing, and I'm sure some of the OGs are going to be in the chat here, and they're going to chime into this. But Grant was doing a show on a platform called Listen App, right? Why is my chat doing this? There we go. We're back to normal. What's up, Jason? SDSU brother. Okay, I'm breathing. Sorry, it's the clone in me. We just, Gail, how would you put it if you're still watching? Like, we kind of know if you get a good one off, and it's like you gotta let that breathe. Oh, Gail's gonna chime in on the Rodgers thing. You think it's gonna work? All right. He did not respect the Jets at the end. Yeah, well, he brought in his own offensive coordinator, and the Jets. That's the interesting thing to me. The Jets catered to Rodgers. They brought in all his guys, and it didn't work. So maybe it's different in Pittsburgh. I don't have anything against Aaron Rodgers. I would like to see him succeed. This is probably his last stop. It's crazy to think how parallel his and Brett Favre's careers have been. The long stretch at Green Bay, Super Bowl win. I mean, they're only one adult picture away from being exactly the same. They really are. It's incredible. So anyways, we were doing the Listen App show, and something came up about somebody doing something for $10,000. I think it was around like an eating competition or something. And I'm like, Napes, you'd shave your head for $10,000. And he's like, oh, I'd shave my head for $5,000. And so the numbers started getting lower and lower and lower. And then everybody's like, oh, hey, I've got 100 on that. And it just started growing. So he's like, well, if I'm shaving my head, you are shaving your head. And it wasn't as big of a deal for me to shave my head because I used to keep my hair short. I just hadn't done it in a long time. But it turned into this big event. We did some auctions. We all got together. We ate, had a good time, filled up the restaurant. But that was a fun night. And that's probably what gave us the idea to have John Finch shave his beard when the Kings made the playoffs. So anyways, all right, we're going to get out. It's been a fun day. Appreciate all of you. I think we're kind of on the same page. If you're just joining or you're listening on replay or you're listening in your car via Apple or Spotify, the big discussion was about Mike Bibby saying that DeMarcus Cousins' jersey should be retired. DeMarcus chimed in on that from there. I think we're all kind of on the same page about that. Even if you take the off-court stuff away, or I should say on-court, non-basketball stuff away, it's not there. It's not there for many of us, and that's been the reaction today. Again, you got Grant tonight. Kuminga, Warriors still trying to reach a deal. Last report, 24 a year. They're hung up on the second year, whether it's going to be a team or a player option. And oh yeah, a no trade clause. What the hell did Kuminga get a no trade clause? When did he get that written in? I don't remember that, but they want him to waive that. I think it's going to be all silent on the Kings front. But I did say if I'm Scott Perry, considering the lack of moves that Golden State made so far in the offseason, I would wax up, shine out Zach LaVine's name to Golden State. Say, yeah, it's a risk, but it's also a risk going 2 more years with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. What if it pays off? That might be that last great run. They like to run. They don't play a ton of D. 3-point shooting team. Maybe you can shine that up real nice and get Mike Dunleavy to think about it, consider it. Because now we're talking about a much better situation for the Kings. Much better. Because you can't bring Kuminga in and not get rid of DeRozan. Now you're going to have a problem. Because you've told Kuminga, well, we want you to start. So, all right, we out. Thanks for being here today. We'll wrap up the week tomorrow. Friday, Royal Rumble Friday. We'll get the wrestling segment in at the end of the show tomorrow. So I know a lot of you come around for that. About 25, 30 minutes of wrestling with Adam. And we will polish off the week. So enjoy football tonight. Again, don't bet on tonight's game. I mean, unless you're like a hardcore college fan, don't bet on the game tonight. You don't know who's going to be playing. Some of you will. All good. Hope you win. Grant, 8 o'clock. Join him as well. Go Kings. Light the beam. Thank you again for letting me into your homes, your offices, your cars, your headsets, and having the opportunity to talk Kings basketball and sports with you. I really appreciate it. Y'all are the best fans in the NBA. Best and most knowledgeable. Period. Court is dismissed.
Order in the court. Feel good about yourself, Ryan. You're just a part of the King's court.
It's cheap, and I like that wide stick.